Hello my friends, and welcome to episode 27 of the Seablock. And between this and the last episode there was some wild discussions and talks in my Discord about people noticing that my belts and my inserters are behaving differently than theirs. So after a lot of searching, it turned out that in my mod settings at the startup, I forgot to change the transport belt overhaul and the inserter overhaul. So I pressed the check marks in the boxes here, and now we're having a little bit of a different layout here. So the normal inserters stayed like the same, but now we have fast inserters instead of long-handed inserters. And look here, they need bronze plates. I don't have bronze plates yet. And at the belt front, we see there's tin plates and basic transport belts for the yellow belts, and I neither have those. So I only would have basic transport belts for the moment, and these are like 50% worse than the stuff I'm using right now. So my factory will be in a pretty awkward situation for the time being, because of course, this all here doesn't work anymore because I set up the whole array with a different recipes set up. So I possibly can raise down this whole area here, but I'm not gonna do that yet because we're still on the quest for slurry. So in between the last episode and this one, we were setting up the basics. So I have here the array setup, which will be producing the slag. I have the hydrogen sulfide to produce myself the sulfuric acid we need. So what's up next on the plate? We really need to produce sulfur, so that's gonna be the point where I will have to turn on the electrolyzers to make that work, huh? Whatever. We're going to drop down another chemical plant for now, and also I need a pin. Here goes. So let's drop the chemical plant, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the final location, but somehow I would love it if this would work like that. So we're going to do sulfur, right? So hydrogen sulfide gas and oxygen gas. There we go. There we go. So let's pipe that in like this. And in the end, I think the flare stack should be living here, like right next to that one. So all the materials that don't get used immediately will be burned by the flare stack. Something like this. Okay, let's see. We are producing sulfur at this line now. And here we need the... Wait a sec. I'm going to make... I need to do sulfur dioxide gas again out of the sulfur. So the next step will be a machine which does the gas here. Okay. Let's maybe do that like this. So this gas is needed to power the chemical plant, which will produce the sulfuric acid we need to make the slurry. Okay, it starts to make sense now. Sulfuric acid, and there we need more purified water, or no, like more, like much more the purified water in general. Okay, and the slag will be needed here. All right. So I think it's time for another pipe nightmare. Oh, and also we need more charcoal. Okay, there we go. So let's take a trip on to the other side of the map and ogle at the glorious machineries we have built so far. I mean, this place is really something, considering that I started with nothing. So I noticed that this amount of charcoal I'm buffering here is really not enough. I need more. More. So I did the overhaul thing for one particular reason, and that's the inserters are faster due to the overhaul. So the whole balancing of the recipes in the SeaBlock mod is triggered around the speed of these inserters. That's why I had so much trouble in the last few episodes with getting the stuff done. So that's why I ultimately fell the decision to do the overhaul, even though it sets back my production, because I won't be able to do transport belts for the time being. But well, I'm pretty much enabling myself right now. So let's get back to the work. Oh, I forgot to pick up the pipes. You see, you do the one thing and then you forget the other thing. And the thing with the things in the C block is you have a lot of things to think about. So let's keep going. Ultimately, we're getting the liquefiers down, and well, considering how valuable belts are becoming now, I'm going to drop down the liquefiers. Well, here. So, why do I have only one? Shouldn't I have two? All right. Loop-de-doo. There we go. So, I just had an idea. What if we would put this together like this? And, we're going to get the slurry here combined. Going to need a completely new production chain now that we have the, the slag slurry. So we have to check out this fluid now. And usage. So the next step afterwards will be the slurry coal filtering. So we're going to use a charcoal filter and the slag slurry and purified water. And then we're going to get mineral sludge out of that. My goodness, these production chains are so huge in this mod. I love it, honestly. At least you have a really big sense of achievement when you get things done. So we're going to slurry. No, that's not what I want. Gonna need this here. There, slurry coal filtering. Okay. So there goes our next block. We're going to compute that by factory. And we're going to take this and we want to compute, or much more, use one of those factories. Boom. Okay, we're going to need these items, or no, that's going to be the output. We're going to need these items for that. So theoretically, I'm producing 50 slag slurry with my array. No? Let's check out. So 50 slag slurry, basically. So we're going to get towards that. That's too much. So we're going to calculate for 2 machines. I know C-block 2 machines will be already a pain. So we're going to need 1 charcoal filter per second. Okay, that's that. That's 2 charcoal, 0.2 charcoal per second. I'm going to get these as a separate block on the machine. let's what's that block called? Whoops. Charcoal filter. No, it was already right there. So there we go. I want to compute the charcoal production somewhere else because yay, we're going to need our friends the LJ again. Oh no, it's beginning again. Well, I'm really considering some centralized fuel production for things like these, but not yet. But it's just I feel like I'm so far away from stuff like that. So we're going to do the good old dance. So you see, we're going to need a very, very small block of production here. Okay, so this one is really easily set up. Next will be the actual slurry. No, wait a sec. No, that's all. Okay. We're only needing this little majingy to get things cycling. Okay. Okay. So that means I'm going to need 2 filtration units. Let's produce these. And in the meantime, I'm going to think about how to connect the sulfuric acid here. So maybe like this, yeah. And some off piping towards there. And let's hope this doesn't get too bulky. Okay, so next up are the filtration units, and boy, they are big. Okay. So here we're going to insert this stuff. I'm really going to use 2 of those guys? Yeah, looks like. Seems like the production process is pretty slow. Alright. And these guys will be dropping out the new fluids on this side. So I had a water production down there. So let's check out what's going on there. Because as far as I see, I didn't find the time yet to pipe that down. So here was the purified water thingy. That was the thing where I wasn't convinced that I had the flare stacks down correctly. So that's something I want to keep an eye on, because I'm not convinced that the flare stacks are sitting at the proper position. So we're going to lay that around here. I'm so happy that I took the time. No. Sorry. To build myself a 3rd power plant, because we have a huge buffer for the moment, until it becomes useless again, because the hunger of the factory grew. There we go. So here's our water line for the purified water. So I read in the comments that a other recipe for purified water is easier to maintain, and well, I'm going to get there maybe later, but for now I took this recipe because it was a nice shot for me to get rid of the excess units of my land gain facilities. So I mean, I'm going to produce the oxygen and the hydrogen anyways, and I felt like that's a pretty cool way to make a use of my excess products. Yeah, just wanted to share my thoughts. So that won't work. Oh, the pipe works. The pipe system of Factorio is a peculiar thing. It almost feels like a unique mini game in the game. It's really fascinating me. Let's do it like this. I feel like this is a sneaky way to do that. Alright. Maybe I'm going to set the liquefiers a little bit more upwards. Like something like this. How much space do we have there? Well, I guess there won't be much more room on this, but this would be at least a little bit less close to the other thingies. Okay. There we go. Okay. So let's do that like this for now. I don't have a clue how I want to pipe this stuff around. Okay. So next up might be already a big mistake which blows up everything, but I don't know. No, this doesn't look too terrible at all. No, they don't interfere. Okay, cool. So let's do the basics. The stuff you always do when you use electrolyzers. Once I'm done with the Seablock, I'm afraid that I might dream of this. Like dropping pipes the whole night in my dreams. It doesn't happen yet, but I'm sure it might. Oh man. I'm really considering to use nanobots, and I was never ever a player who was too lazy to build things by hand. But this is something else, friends. Okay, so we're not going to use the oxygen outputs. I'm going to close my production pin thingy now. But I'm going to grab some more resources. I know I will need them. But overall, we're living in the land of plenty right now. It's, my factory is in a really, really good shape. The iron plates are backing up, you see. They're not only backing up, they're buffering. This feels so big. Alright. I'm a little bit concerned about the well-being of things, so I'm going to monitor everything a moment, but it's just the buffers are running full. Yeah, just like I thought. Well, those buffers are still having some room, but I have to shoot some boxes here to replace them. So give me a sec, friends. We have to go on the hunt. This feels a little bit ridiculous, honestly. Probably I consider that as one of the worst balancing things. I think I'm just assuming the dev's idea was to get the brown algae into the mod to make AFKing a little bit less efficient, because basically if I would let my factory run like overnight, these brown algae would stop my AFK power mongering at some point, because the array would just clump up, and that's that. So oh dear. The sodium carbonate is getting out of hand. Let's do more boxes. I don't know what I'm going to do with that stuff, but I just hope one day I'll be grateful for it. Well, I could look it up in FNEI, but I recently did that, and then I just had more questions, and then I did regret it. It's almost like Googling a disease and that you or Googling for some pain that you're feeling. Never do that. Don't ask Dr. Google. Just making yourself neurotic. If I remember correctly, there's even scientific proof of that by the time being. It's just too much half knowledge and not enough moderation in the internet when it comes down to health questions. So don't go down that road. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So I want to pipe the... Always can't remember oxygen. Which one is which? I want to pipe the oxygen on this side. It feels just easier to connect them here. So, and I'm going to get the... Yeah, that should work. So we're going to get these together on this side. Yeah, that should work. So the real pain comes up when you want to connect bigger arrays like that. So I'm going to do this. I like to try to focus on one color as much as possible before heading into the others. But as you've seen, I got sidetracked in organizing a little bit of the hydrogen in between. So that's that. Okay, we have now connected all the oxygen pipes with each other. And now we have to connect them somehow with the factory. So everything is now connected, so I can get, like, maybe we're going to connect from here. Doesn't this look good to me? No, it doesn't. It would be easier to come from here, I think. There. Here I'll just come from the side and everything is fine. So we're going to get this over here, and that's that. Okay, so now everybody's getting what they're needing. I'm going to need a inserter connection, of course, because this sulfur has to be transported somehow. And I'm pretty sure that something will go wrong, because I don't see the full chain of production yet. I have a slight feeling that I will have to change things a little bit up, because I don't have planned in yet the recycling of the sulfuric wastewater, so it's something I have to take care of as well. So, wow, no, that's a really nasty spot to go there. So, I'm not sure if I really want to get my filtration facilities there. It's just too clumped up, you know. Okay, but apart from that, let's connect these guys with the slag. Oh dear. Well, no problem. How much inserters do they need for the slag? Okay. Okay, so 3 or 2. Okay, that's okay. Luckily, I have a few fast inserters left, so I can work like this. It'll do. It'll do. This really looks a little bit funky, but it'll do. So let's get this done. And I promise, ultimately, we're going to get somewhere with this. I can't believe it myself at this moment, but somehow you have to be patient and believe in miracles. So let's connect them like that. No, I have kind of a plan, but the chain is really big. So let's go for this. But turns out my planning was good enough to work out at this spot. Okay. Last job to be done. Since I don't have any use of the hydrogen, I'm going to need a flare stack here. Right, okay. So this is going to burn the hydrogen. The rest of the oxygen we're going to burn over here. Hopefully this will do. I try to put it at the end of the chain as much as possible, but it's hard to tell when it's really at the end of the chain. Okay, so the production of the slag slurry is now done. I have set up this step. This array is now fully up and operational if I don't messed up somewhere. So the problem now is that we're still having a few questions unanswered. So what up with the sulfuric wastewater? I don't have a clue how to deal with this. I only know that I can recycle it, but I didn't well, I do have a clue. Maybe I'm over exaggerating here, but I don't know how to do that. So we're going to take the sulfuric wastewater, and then we can purify that, and we're going to get purified water back and a little bit of mineralized water. So this was what you guys were talking about in the comments about the sulfur production, which will back up at some point. Okay, so luckily this is quite easy, because all I'm going to need is a hydro plant, and I'm going to be able to sustain my purified water with that. Awesome. And a little bit of mineralized water will fall up. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I could pipe that over to the other guys, but I don't know. I could store it. Well, maybe I'm just going to cleanse it. Storage would be containering it would be better, but do I have fluid control even? Doesn't look like me. Doesn't look like it to me. So let's research some basic logistics at least. Okay, so let's get back to this little machine. So purification, the filtration units. All right. I think I'm going to let them live over here. But let's expand this landslide a little bit. Okay. So that's that. Let's check out the inputs and outputs again. Well, let's do something like that. Okay. now we're going to need purified water. Having it prepared here, but considering how things have evolved, it might be more interesting to pipe it like here. I see. I think that's a way more interesting approach, but I think I just produced a little problem with the connections there, so let's approach that differently. To avoid the interferences. Okay, now we have the mineral slurry and agricultural planting. Advanced mechanical refining. So yeah, that's the technology I need next. Okay, a few more electric poles, please. And now we're going to need the little production chain for the charcoal. Luckily, it's a really small block. With not a lot of things connected into. So let's do that real quick. So I consider setting up this extra machinery on a little inlet here. Let's see. So we're going to need one LJ farm. Luckily, I'm pretty stacked with materials at this point. 4 assemblers. And 1 furnace. Okay. Boom. That's done. Okay. Luckily, things aren't as hard as they were nowadays. Okay. I'm going to get the output there. And a splitter, which will lead to brown LJs piling up again. But we are used to that nowadays. Now by this time, I don't fear the brown LJ anymore. Okay, wrong side. It's really, by now, a process I did so many times. I don't know. Oh, wait a sec. There. Awesome. You see, obviously I can with this I didn't know that. So we're doing the process like that. Boom, boom, boom. And wait a sec. I seem to have forgotten the production step of the wood blocks. Or why doesn't it? Yeah. Wait a sec. Products, wood bricks, yeah. So ingredients, there goes. Ah, no. I got confused. Okay, and last but not least, here goes this guy. Okay, that doesn't work as intended. Ghost gets placed down in a weird way. But furnace doesn't need to have any recipe there. Okay, and then we're going to have this guy here. So hopefully this will work out as I want it to. Okay, let's check it out. We're going to need only 2 inserters now, you see. This is really tuning down the needs there. Inputs 2.4, so ooh. I can't imagine that the machine is working as efficient, so efficient that it will need both of these. But well, you never know. Also, I'm considering something, you know. There's a cool thing we're going to do. Okay. So this is my attempt of achieving them chain feeding each other. So they're going to need the charcoal filters to operate. Okay. So we're going to output the filters on this. So I'm really considering using now gray belts at some points to save myself some resources. No, this is actually way too narrow. I need to let that run a little bit more spacious there. And I don't want to interfere with the liquid systems, so... Oh, there we go. I'm going to need an input and an output system, I just noticed. So... Well, the output will always be the same item. Alright. It's not as complicated as I imagined it. No, don't need that. Okay. So we're going to lay down this sneaky little thing here. Maybe not that sneaky. At least not if we put it like that. Okay. And then I'm going to snake it right back to the filter system, or they can get back the empty filters, the filter frames that get output by the filtration units. So yeah, that should work, I guess. The only thing that's missing now is the further links with the machines which will ultimately do something out of the mineral slurry we're producing here, the mineral sludge. So that's something for the next episode, though. I'm not going to plug in anything today. We're just leaving this as it be. I'm going to continue the production chain in the next video, but we're that close. So feel free to drop me a comment, you know the drill, and I would, as always, appreciate help on this video. Like it, share it, subscribe to this channel, do whatever you can. I would appreciate anything, but mostly I hope you come back for the next episode. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.